welcome to the It Doesn't Hold Up podcast. We review and reevaluate all things we remember fondly from our childhood and years prior to see if they still hold up. And more often than not, they probably don't. I'm Stuart Shepherd, along with my co-host and good friend, Michael Smith. Smith, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Stuart. How are you?
I am fantastic. You might say I'm Yabba Dabba Doo.
Dabba-doo?
Dabba Doo.
Dabba-doo. Blue dabba-doo. No.
No.
Ah!
Wrong year, Smith. Wrong year. We haven't covered 1999 yet. Yeah, we have to
Have
start
we
thinking.
not? Well, what
No.
came out in 1999?
Oh, no. We can't discuss what came out in 99 because that might influence one's decision.
Wild West, was it?
No, what? Yeah, it did.
Wild West, Stuart. Don't make me do it.
No. And Smith, this is the third episode of the row you've not started with a quip. What's going on? Why am I taking your job?
I'm not that quippy.
Yes, you are.
To be fair, I forgot that's what I'm supposed to do. You don't write
This is why
stuff
we
down,
have a
Stuart.
prep session beforehand. This is why we have a prep session beforehand.
Look, if you don't write stuff down, I'm not going to remember.
Good grief.
Getting old.
Anyway.
Getting old, mate.
Yes. Aren't you just? Anyway, right. Before we get on to this episode's nomination, I want to talk a bit about last episode's feedback. Smith, I got the most random feedback for this episode. The main one was, I don't know whether it was kind of reverse psychology. A few people pinged me, said, you know what, I think I kind of want to watch Rush Hour 3. It's like, no, you don't want to watch Rush Hour 3.
I don't think I've ever seen Rush Hour 3.
No, you don't want to, Smith. How many more bloody times?
Say that. Maybe I should go and watch Rush Hour 3.
Yeah, you should watch Rush Hour 3 and you'll love it. Yeah.
No, I don't want to watch that.
Fantastic. The other one I got, a couple of people pinged me, said, I forgot about that bit in Rush Hour. He goes, titty, get those titties out of here. Oh, that was funny. And randomly, at the end of the episode, we concluded by saying, yeah, it is a bit racist, but there's no gay panic in it. And someone pinged me saying, oh, I love the term gay panic.
What part of it do they love?
I don't know. I didn't know.
I'm in it for the panic.
Oh, well, luckily this week's episode is not going to have any gay panic, but we are going to have a gay old time talking about
it. Oh, he said it. He said the thing that they say.
I said it.
They say the thing that means a different thing now.
Completely out of context, but yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, Smith nominated The Flintstones, the movie from 1994. So, brief synopsis, this is the big screen adaptation of the Hanna-Barbera cartoon, which ran from 1960 to 1966, but then didn't become a movie until 1994. Don't know if Smith's going to cover that in his trivia as to why. Go on. What's up?
Do you know what that says to me? Right for a live-action remake, almost 30 years later.
Yes.
It's gonna spur the question that I will ask many times during this. Who is this for?
Yes. Self-admiration. I don't know.
Who knows? Who's this film for?
Who knows? Anyway. But yes, so it's the big screen live adaptation of the Flintstones cartoon, and it came out in the UK in July 1994, just in time for school holidays. Came out in America a little bit earlier, May 1994, but we got it in July. So yeah, before we go into how old we were and stuff when we saw it, Smith, let's talk about 1994 again. What scene setting have you got for us?
It's my favourite year. I was 9. It was the heady summer of 1994, and a 9-year-old Smith had a BMX. But what was going on? Well, we've already covered main news, so I've gone back to our good friends at the Weekly World News Stew to see what kind of stuff was going on in the weird world of news. The lead story, which I found, which I'm actually going to read a little bit of because it amused me no end, is I picked up a hitchhiking werewolf.
I mean, isn't that some horror movie stuff?
Hold on. On the night of June 23rd, waitress Hilda Califf stopped to pick up a hitchhiker on a lonely road outside this town and wound up face to face with a werewolf. Incredibly, the 24-year-old divorced mum kept her head and managed to survive as she and the werewolf rode in her car for 20 minutes. The monster then asked Mrs. Califf to pull over, got out, and ran off into the darkness. Do you know what that is, Stu? It's a man with a beard.
That's exactly what it is.
That is a man with a beard who smells a bit like a dog.
Very hairy man, yep.
There's a mugshot. Anyway. Other news, evolution shocker, birth of an infant who can move small objects just by looking them has stunned doctors. He says that the boy has an unusually large brain.
The force is strong on that one.
World's first interview with a severed head, says he's looking for a new body. Half of all bodies in American graveyards were buried alive. Half, right? 10% would be too many. Half. And
Oh dear.
My favourite headline, oops, Clumsy lifeguard kills 3.
That is kind of plausible. Out
That's
of the
just yeah,
nonsense
yeah.
you just
Oh yeah.
read.
I just enjoy. Oops.
Oops.
Oh no, I've accidentally killed 3 people. Do you want to take a guess as well while we're on news about music news? What was the biggest hit of 1994?
Oh, do you know what? Was it Wet, Wet, Wet? Love is all around.
No, it was The Sign by Ace of Base.
What? Really?
That's according to Wikipedia. Might be
In
American.
UK charts, American
I
charts?
don't know. I didn't look.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, Wet, 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 Love is all around. The same year as Four Weddings and a Few, 1984, and that song was at number 1 for 15 weeks.
Stu, Wikipedia said, right?
Oh,
don't
well,
argue with Wikipedia.
who are we
and,
to
and,
question Wikipedia?
and this isn't Wet, 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 the podcast. That's my other podcast. Smith is Wet, Wet, Wet.
Well, we won't be discussing this on this podcast. Anyway, so back to Flintstones. So, thank you for covering 1994. Unless have you got anything else crazy that we want to hear?
No.
Good. Although I must say, I have started following the Weekly World News on Instagram, and it's provided some great entertainment. Right. So, 1994 is when the Flintstones come out. But when did you first see it, and how did you see it? Was it cinema? Was it telly? Was it video? What was it?
1994 at the cinema.
Hmm.
So at the cinema, not only did I see it at the cinema, I collected all of the McDonald's toys that they released. It was the first time that I realized you could buy McDonald's toys without having to buy a Happy Meal.
What? Really?
Yeah, they cost 90 pence. And you could go into McDonald's and you could just buy the toy. So I didn't have to get fat. I did, but I didn't have to.
Now, see, the McDonald's Happy Meals were shit because you just got like a normal cheeseburger, small fries, and a small Coke. I don't think you would have got fat. So you probably didn't get the Happy Meal. You probably got the adults meal.
Yeah, I got a triple Big Mac, and I'll also have a little Fred Flintstone on a dinosaur, please.
Oh dear, I had no idea. So all those years I was buying those crappy Happy Meals so I could have my Aladdin toy or whatever, and I could have just bought the toy.
Could have just had a McChicken sandwich.
There you go.
And,
the McRib came back, didn't it? That because
it did.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm probably dipping into your trivia already.
No.
All right.
My trivia is not McRib based.
But yes, I do remember the McRib, although I never had it. But yeah, that was part of the big tie-in with McDonald's. But yeah, cool. So you were 1994. You were at the cinema watching this in 1994.
Yep,
cool.
I dragged my parents.
Your poor parents. Now, see, I didn't see this at the cinema. I don't know what it was. It's just, I wasn't really a huge Flintstones fan. I think out of all those Hanna-Barbera cartoons, I think I liked Scooby-Doo the best. Maybe the Jetsons. The Jetsons were cool.
It was 1994. No one was a huge Flintstones fan. No. Huge Flintstone fans in 1994 was like 35.
But weirdly, at my school, people get really buzzing about this film coming out. Like, oh, the Flintstones. Oh, yeah, I'm going to see it like in the summer holidays. Oh, I can't wait to go see it. Blah, 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 blah. And then when we came back, like for year 5, later on, like September night, I was like, oh, did you see the Flintstones over the summer? I was like, no. Like, but I don't know why. People at my school were really excited about it for some. I don't know because it was just
too cool for the Flintstones.
I was. No, I preferred Scooby Doo, the Jetsons, Top Cat, that sort of thing. But Flintstones didn't really do it for me.
The Jetsons not having a live action one is the thing that's always surprised me.
And if they did it right, a bit like how Chip and Dale is on Disney Plus, you know, the live action's almost Roger Rabbit. They could do that really well, I think. But yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I didn't see it until it came on Sky. So back in the day, if it came out in July 1994, it would have come on video to rent January, although they might try and push it through for Christmas for people to try and get that. And then Sky tended to get it like another 6 months later. So I probably watched it summer 1995, and I watched it on Sky. And yeah, never bought it until I had to buy it for this podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that I bought this for a ripe price of £2.15, not 50,
and
15.
I bought it for a right price of £6.99 from Amazon on Blu-ray. I used to have it on VHS, as I recall, but my mum gave all my VHSs away to a charity shop.
God bless her. And I'm sure they're still there and no one's bought them.
Probably ended up in a bloody skip.
Yeah, probably. Landfill. Right then. Shall we delve into this air quote plot?
Plot.
Yes.
I mean, it has got a plot. It's just not got the plot of a film that's suitable for children and isn't just terribly boring or an episode of Don Johnson's. What was that show? Oh, damn it. God damn it. I forgot what the name of the show was.
What show?
What was that? Nash Bridges.
I've never watched Nash Bridges.
Well, don't.
All right.
Don't know where I was going with that sentence when I started it, and I really wish I hadn't.
That's fine.
Let's just forget that happened and carry on.
Yeah, cool. When I get better editing software, I'll cut stuff out.
Good.
Right. Anyway, So now, just to preface this, there are puns galore throughout this, and the minute this film starts, we get Steven Spielrock presents.
So there are puns, in loose quotation marks puns, right? Because some of them work. Right, there's someone's driving a Mercedes later on. Ha
Oh, I
ha
did
ha!
see
Very
that.
good.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, no,
funny.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Or they go to see Tar Wars by George Lucas. That works. Steven Spielrock is just fucking lazy. And there's a number of instances in this where they just put rock in a word and think that's a pun. No, it's not a pun. That's not a
Yeah,
pun. Rock Donald's is not a pun.
yeah, yeah. I don't know
You
how
just
else
put
they
the
come up
word
with it.
rock in there instead of another word. That's not how puns work.
No, no, it was pretty lazy. But yes, so Steven Spielrock apparently is presenting this movie, and we see Bedrock Quarry. Now, Bedrock, I'm going to cover this a bit later. Fantastic effort. They have gone to huge, huge, huge amounts of effort to recreate it to make it look like the cartoon. It's very, very
Mm.
cool. So yeah, they're men are hard and work, and then we see the Slate and Co. vice president, I wrote his name, Cliff Vandercave, and
Cliff
as we'll,
Van der Cave, yeah.
yes,
Two puns in that name.
yep, and his associate, we'll find out her name probably later on, is Miss Sharon Stone, and they must be evil because they're smoking.
Yeah. Still in the 90s, right? Villains smoked. Now villains nobody smokes in films. Nobody. But in
No,
the 90s, you'd still have villains smoking in a kid's film.
absolutely.
Within minute one.
But they minute one, and they're talking about their diabolical scheme to steal Mr. Slate's money and frame one of the quarry workers. Wonder which one they're going to frame. And then we get an absolutely excellent old school intro of the cartoon. The Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. Like the attention to detail of it is brilliant. It's really, really good. I actually went back and rewatched the cartoon, and they got it spot on. And yeah, the cartoon always the intro used to finish with them pulling into a cinema to watch a film. And yeah, as Smith has clearly said, they're going to watch Tar Wars, and we get the title screen of Universe.
See, that works. See, that works. Steven
Yeah,
Spielrock, no. Universal, yes. Do you see how what you've done there? You've been clever with your replacing words, not just put rock in. It'd be like Univer Rock.
yeah, that's stupid. Well,
No, but they could.
Spielrock kind of works because Berg means mountain in German, right? So an
Right.
equivalent to mountain is a rock, I guess. I don't know.
Why don't they just keep it then?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Um, what do you think of that is the animatronics are very, very impressive. Like the set is very, very impressive. The effort that's gone into everything is very, very impressive. The animatronics look great.
Yep.
CGI has not aged well, but it's not the worst I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination, and it's used very sparingly,
Now, I would disagree with you
which
there.
works.
Considering Jurassic Park came out the year earlier and the CGI was awesome in this, I thought Dino and the cat in this looks shit. Whenever there's the
Yeah, well,
CGI Dino and
yeah, but
cat,
they
it's
don't
rubbish.
use them very often,
True. True.
and yeah, you're right. It does. I mean, compared to Jurassic Park, it looks shit, but everything looks shit compared to Jurassic Park. And this, I would say, this was cheaper, but it wasn't that much cheaper.
No, and it had Steven Spielberg attached to it. So why did he put better CGI in it?
Well, he didn't direct it, did he?
Yeah, I guess.
There's probably a reason that because whenever he does comedy, it doesn't work that well. So maybe that's
No,
why. I mean, he's a great director, obviously, but anytime he's sort of strayed towards comedy, it really doesn't work. So he
no.
has to kind of pull back a bit. There's another point I've got about this. Right, as I was watching this, I was already slightly confused. Right, so we've started with the evil. You've started with what's the name, Carl
Cliff,
McLaughlin and Halle Berry,
Cliff and Miss Stone. Yep.
Cliff and Stone, plotting. I mean, straight into the plot.
Yep.
And then we get the opening sequence where Fred's leaving work
Yep.
in a universe where they're plotting to go into a cinema to watch a film, which then happens to be this film.
But I think that's how it was in a cartoon. There was some whole
Yeah, but they're
wall
watching
breaking
the
thing.
film of themselves doing the thing that's just happened. I think probably they fucked up somewhere.
I don't know. They might have just been going to watch a film called Tar Wars, although it is kind of about Tar
It's this
Wars.
film.
Yeah.
But it is this film because at the end it pulls out the screen and they're there watching it.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean Tar Wars was a film about themselves. They could have been just going to watch a film called Tar Wars.
But at the end, when they pull out of the screen,
Oh yeah,
they're
yeah,
still
yeah,
watching
you're
this
right.
film. I just what?
Just stop. It's just quite a
Yeah.
better film. All right, just stop.
No, okay.
It's not.
Gonna...
It's right. It's not. It's not.
No, I'm going to breeze past it.
Okay, good.
It's bothered me though, and it will continue to bother me.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Yep. We get a pterodactyl plane flying over, making some shit joke about, oh yeah, you'll see the Grand Canyon over there in 2 million years. Okay,
That
right.
don't make any sense.
That was something.
Don't make any sense.
No, we get some nice exterior shots of California, I believe, where this filmed.
Yes, clearly in a quarry in California.
Yes.
It just looks like you expect like Captain Kirk to come over a rock fighting with Gorn. Like, ignore that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we get more shots of bedrock, and it looks really, really cool. Lots of attention to detail, and then we get Fred and Barney are driving along and singing. Now, how is there a radio? I know I know in the cartoon there was a radio, and there was a TV, and there was all this other nonsense, but it really doesn't make any sense, does it?
I mean, look. I've just made a big deal about them being inside their own movie, but I really wouldn't pay too much attention to things that don't make sense in terms of the world building here because no.
Fine, we'll move along. We learn that Fred has given Barney some money so him and Betty can adopt a child, but he wants it kept very, very hush hush. And
that's what kids want in their films: adoption storylines.
Indeed. Yeah, in the cartoon, I don't think Bam Bam was adopted. I was like, where has this come from then? Just to further the plot.
Oh God only knows. One of the 35 people that scripted this film came up with that at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. And Fred comes home, decides to kick the door down rather than open it like a normal person. Why have you done that? Why don't you just open the door? Just boot it. Well, I'm home.
Do you mean you don't? I mean, see, when I get home every night, I just boot that door straight in. My door budget is enormous. All my money goes on doors to you.
But you live in a flat. You just boot open the many doors you've got to get to your flat.
Yeah, the lift takes a right pummeling in and out.
So many dents. Then we get Dino again, another shit CGI of him jumping all over Fred, but it is cut with animatronic Dino like attacking him, so I guess it doesn't look too horrendous. We meet Wilma, played by Elizabeth Perkins from Big, and she wants to know why there's no money in their bank account when she went to replace their garbage disposal, which is a pig. And then Fred,
the wife is a nag.
Proper nag.
That's that stereotypical story. Like in the car when he's discussing with Barney, it's like, oh, don't tell my wife. It's like, oh, bloody wives.
Yeah, I'm the king of my cave.
Joe. Kids film. Bloody wives and adoptions, eh? Kids films.
Although in the cartoon, Wilma was a nag as well, and Fred always did have harebrained schemes, so they've kind of got it quite right. Yeah, she went to go buy a new garbage disposal, which is a pig, and then Fred confesses that he gave his money to Barney for adoption. And yeah, I must say as well, you mentioned about the animatronics. The pig looks really good. Looks cool.
The pig does look really good. The sounds it makes are horrifying.
Oh yeah.
That I hated every second that thing was on screen. Go. It's like, oh God.
It's Willow all over again.
What's wrong with it? Put it out of its misery.
Yeah. Yep. And then what happens next? Oh yes, then we get to the adoption centre where I don't know why Fred and Wilma have decided to go with him.
Oh no, there's a bit you missed over when he got home and he's sitting there and he's reading his newspaper and he's got dirty ass feet right in the screen.
Well, what do you expect? Walking around with no shoes on.
Don't want to see him.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes manky old feet in my face.
Yep. Then what? Yes, then we get to adoption centre, and then I don't know why the Flintstones have gone with the Rubbles, but yeah, they have done. I guess they want to know where their hard-earned money's going. And then we get a really good gag that at first the adoption lady comes out, and Barney and Betty assume it's for them, and it's a monkey. They're a bit disappointed. Oh, we'll look after it just like it's all right. Like, no, it's not for you. It's for the Hendersons over there. Harry and the Hendersons. Yeah, that's funny. And I presume is that the same orangutan later on that we see at the quarry, or is there just like
maybe? Well, yeah. I mean, your orangutan budget's only going to go so far. You ain't going to pay for 4.
No. Then we get a shit joke later on that Wilma's nephew had a tail, and she was like, "Fred, don't point out anything wrong with the baby." And I was like, "What do you mean her nephew had a tail? What was it? A dinosaur? Wait, what?
Maybe her sister had sex with a dinosaur.
Maybe some crossbreeding there.
Yeah. Must investigate this.
We're introduced to Bam Bam, and he's a right feral little shit. And for some reason, he's dressed like Tarzan. He's like, oh, he was raised by, what was it, Neanderthals, did they say, or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but and it's borne out in the credits because the person who voices Bam Bam is not the kids that played Bam Bam. Bam Bam's dialogue is all overdubbed, and it's really obvious.
Yeah, wasn't he like Icelandic or something?
Yeah, it must have been. It must have sort of Scandinavian Bams. Like just the acting was so bad that he couldn't say Bam Bam. He was Scandinavian, so like boom boom, and they're like, it's not quite right.
Boom boom and pebbles.
Yeah, boom boom and pebbles. That's nope, not making that joke.
That doesn't work. No, stop it. Anyway, so Bam Bam assaults his father Barney, then runs away. And then we get a montage of Barney and Betty like bathing in him, trying to make him look more presentable and domesticated. And we see that he's a very strong boy and he can lift stuff and he can throw things and all that sort of thing. And
Do
then
you think
something.
that? Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
No, that's going to come back at any point in the plot later?
Well,
No.
he's strong. No, no,
Yeah.
not at all. In fact,
No, it won't.
that's a plot point I've got later on that really pisses me off. Hang on a minute, isn't he supposed to be really strong? But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk.
What? Yeah. No.
We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. And then we see after that, now Bam Bam is just a normal little boy. It's like, in the space of what, 2 days? They've managed to bathe him, give him a haircut, and make him domesticated. But he can't say Dada or anything else. He could just say Bam Bam. There you go. Then what? Yeah, then we cut to the bowling alley and Fred's team with Barney, and they win. And then during their celebration, Barney reads this really cringe poem to Fred, giving him the money and how grateful he is and how he's going to repay him somehow. Wonder if that will come back later.
It'd be one of the few things that does, because lots of things do not.
I'm sure we'll come to it.
I don't know about you as well. I don't know. It might be just a thing with me, but the kind of the celebration dance that they do.
What that?
Yeah. Things like that in films, and I don't know what it is, but things like that in films always make me feel really uncomfortable.
Why?
I don't know. It just puts my teeth on edge. I don't know what it is. I feel like secondhand embarrassment for everyone involved.
No, I didn't find it that cringe. I've seen on the making of, like, the choreographer shows them how to do it and stuff. They're all practicing it, but yeah, I didn't find it. They get a big celebratory bib, which I thought was awesome. Then my wife pointed out that's really unhygienic. It's like 4 men dunking their heads in that, drinking it. It's disgusting. I was like, oh yeah, I suppose you're right. Maybe if I didn't have to share it, that'd be cool, you know.
But I want one. It only works as well for the first like 6 inches, and then beyond that, you're gonna have to kind of get in there.
Or a big straw, yeah. Like a drain pipe or something. I don't know. Yep. So then Fred comes home with his bowling trophy and in full slapstick style falls over and he's knocked over. And then we meet his mother-in-law, Elizabeth Taylor, and she's called Pearl Slaghoople. Slaghoople? Apparently that's not even Wilma's maiden name in the cartoons. Where the fuck did they get Slaghoople from?
Oh. Well, Slaghoople by name.
Why is Elizabeth Taylor in this film? She's so wasted in this film.
I mean, she was like the most famous woman in the world at one point, and now she's in this. I think it was like her last film as well.
Yeah,
I think before she dies is her last movie.
Yeah,
which is weird. She doesn't look that bad. I mean, I don't know how old she was at this point.
63, I read.
Yeah, she looked fine. It's a weird thing. I think actually for many years, this was the only thing I'd ever actually seen Elizabeth Taylor in.
I think it is the only thing. I've never seen the original Father of the Bride or Cleopatra or anything like that. So.
I've seen Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and she's in that.
Oh, well, good for you.
I don't just watch kids' films from the 90s, Stu. I
from 1994.
Yeah, I majoritively watch kids' films from the 90s, but I don't always watch kids' films from the 90s.
Right. Yeah, and then Pearl gives Fred a load of shit for being a terrible husband and father, and then fat shames him or something. You didn't need to call him that. And then he says a really weird line. She goes, something about having her hands full. He goes, you have your hands full when you're scratching your neck. And I'm like, what does that mean? Are you implying she's fat as well?
Got a fat neck.
But she doesn't. I'm like, what? It was just a really weird... Even as a kid, that line bothered me. I was like, I don't get it.
Her neck is of normal size.
Yeah. You've got a fat neck. Fuck off. So yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Then also, I think this is where she says the line, something along the lines of, "I will think of all the sacrifices we made for you." That was very funny. It's one of those few times that I've laughed out loud. The other one was when the pig eats his watch. He goes, "Spit it out!"
Oh yeah. Well, that was good.
Yeah.
It was, the funny line is, just think of all the sacrifices your father's made: lambs, oxen, your brother Jerry. It was really good. I did laugh out loud.
Great line. I mean, it's weird as well because for a film that's ostensibly a comedy, I think I only laughed out loud like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, me too.
And when you consider how many people were involved in the writing of jokes for this, and I will come back to that, it's insane to think that it's not funny. Like it's a lot of things, but funny it ain't.
Such a shame.
Yeah. Anyway, also Stu, so yeah, mother-in-law jokes. Yeah, kids film.
Oh yeah,
kids film.
But Wilma's mother is in the cartoon, and she's a real pain in the arse in the cartoon as well. So yeah.
Well, all right then. But you know, when the cartoon originally came out, it wasn't aimed at kids.
No, it was an adult show like The Simpsons.
It was an adult show.
Like
it was aimed at prime time audiences and had a laugh track, which cartoons up to that point hadn't had. So it's actually aimed at adults at the time. But the film was a kids' film. Who's this for?
No, it's weird. And you know what? That's probably why
I think it's for Brian Levant.
I think it is too. I think that's
Just
why
moving
I didn't
forward.
like the Flintstones cartoon, because the laugh track I just found it really distracting. I was like, why is there this laugh track? Other cartoons don't have this. Why? Yeah, yes, I think it's purely for Brian Levant, who was a Uber fan apparently. Oh God, that was. Yeah, then we see like Fred putting the cat out for the night, and I was like, why doesn't this cat have a name either? That really bothered me. Like Dino the dinosaur, and this cat. I was like, is it actually their cat or just some fucking cat who just keeps coming in? Because we have a cat like that where we live. It's really annoying.
I live
Uh,
on the second floor of a block of flats, so I definitely don't.
what was that TV show where that cat kept dragging in the newspaper? Oh, Early Edition. Do you remember that?
No,
Yeah.
actually,
Oh,
yes, I do. Uh,
that cat was
now
in
that
an
I've
apartment block.
now that I've
Just like,
reacted badly, well, I bet I remember that there was a show called Early Edition. Any sort of specifics have long escaped my memory.
it was about a cat that dragged in tomorrow's newspaper. I was like, oh, that's quite a good premise, but you never knew where this cat was coming from. Anyway, sorry,
I
this
would just use that for evil. Anyway,
yeah. Anyway, we digress. It's the next day. It's lunchtime at the quarry, and we get a visual joke of a bird taking off a bottle cap. Because this jab sucks, which apparently we got it from the cartoon as well. There was always animals that were breaking the fourth
yeah,
wall
yeah,
and looking that.
You think your job's crappy?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's Family Guy, wasn't it? Who's shit in a pelican's mouth.
um, also, that the pun doesn't work.
Yeah, because he doesn't suck. He just bites off a bottle cap.
Yeah,
Like,
if he sucked off a bottle cap, well,
I mean, this ain't a
that
kid's
would
film at
be that
all.
would be
This job
yeah.
blows. Anyway, sorry. Oh, we get
Oh,
some various visual gags about food, like Barney's eating a hard-boiled egg, which is a dinosaur egg, and like Fred's eating a giant, like I don't know, something or other on the bone.
now, Stu, last year I went to Disneyland in Florida,
Hmm.
and at Disneyland you can get a big turkey leg that made me think of that when I was watching that, and I got one of those
Ah,
when I was there, and I started eating it, and about halfway through a giant smoked turkey leg, you stop wanting it, you stop wanting it, and you just want to die
live to the ripe old
because
age of 38.
if I'm lucky,
Yep. Yeah. You made me miss where I was getting to, Smith. Oh yes, yes.
sorry.
Yeah. Cliff then announces that there's going to be an aptitude test for the quarry workers, and someone will get an opportunity of promotion. And then it's a really funny bit when the orangutan puts his hand up. No, please hold your questions to the end. The orangutan slowly puts his hand down. That was another really good joke. So that's probably 2 out of the 3 that made me laugh.
Now,
Uh,
Carl McLaughlin at this point, I thought he started off with a British accent. In the very first scene, I could have sworn he was trying something,
oh
which he
really?
then seems to have completely abandoned. I might be wrong on that.
I don't know, because sometimes when I've seen in films or TV shows, really, really posh American people almost do sound English, like "Hey, say," like that, and I'm like, are you trying to be British, or
Mm,
you're so posh you don't sound American anymore? I don't know. So maybe he was going for something
yeah,
like that. Who knows? Yeah. And then Fred realizes that's his opportunity to be somebody. We get Bam Bam and Pebbles playing, and if you look really carefully, you can see that Pebbles is actually going round and round and
yeah,
round
yeah, yeah.
on the swing, which is kind of fun. And
Is
then
this the point where Fred has the kind of the thought bubble of him holding 2 bags of
yeah,
money?
yeah,
I have that all the time.
I could be somebody. Is that you?
Yeah, that's me. All the time when I'm at work, I'm like, oh, stop
You
having
got me.
some bags of cash.
Yeah, if I rob that bank, I could be somebody. And then we get Wilma and Betty are discussing the test coming up, and they do that really annoying fake laugh. I was just like, why is Rosie O'Donnell in this film? She does absolutely nothing. They could have cast anyone as Betty. Why did they cast her?
I thought she was fine.
That's just it. She's fine. But what? She's just capable of so much more and does very little in this film. I don't know.
I don't
So
think
she
that's
does
her.
that.
I don't think that's her fault. I think that's the script's fault.
I know it's
Gives
the
her
script's
nothing.
fault
Gives her nothing to do, and she's fine in it. I mean, she won the Razzie for worst actress for this, which I do not understand at all.
because she doesn't do anything in this film apart from that annoying
Yeah,
laugh. That's it.
yeah, but she's not bad. That's the point.
Yeah.
She's not bad in it. Like it's anyway.
Anyway. So yeah, it's time for the test, and yeah, predictably, Fred royally fucks up his test, and then we get another good visual gag of the orangutans doing his work, and someone tries to copy his work, and he just like covers it, which was really funny. And then after the test, briefly, like Barney examines Fred's test and realizes he's fucked up. I was like, how? Surely it's just like multiple choice and stuff. How have you quickly scanned down it and realized that he's failed it? Whether he just knew that this guy's dumb anyway. And then he
Then you get a
decides,
thought bubble
oh yeah,
that tells him that I remember when I said I'd pay him back as if we can't remember what happened 5 minutes ago. I mean,
Exactly. And
seriously.
also, I thought this was really arrogant of Barney. I was like, how do you know you've passed this test?
Wasn't
Like,
Barney supposed to be the stupid one in the cartoon?
yes, hey, Fred. Yeah, he is supposed to be the dumb one, and Fred's the more clever one. So I don't know why they've done it round the other way in this. Who knows? Yeah. And then in Cliff's office, Miss Stone announces that Fred is the one who got the highest score. And there's another funny line. He goes, Flintstone, that big ape. And she goes, oh no, the big ape scored a 65.
But
Funny.
bum.
Made me laugh. Anything related with that ape just cracked me up in this. I don't know what it was. Yeah.
You're a simple man, Stu.
I
It's
am.
the
I am.
simple things that makes you laugh. Monkey.
Yeah, funny. Yeah, Cliff announces to the workers that Fred's won, and then we get a really good effect of him celebrating. They used to do in the cartoon. He used to jump up the air, and I'm like, have they done that? Is that cranes? Do you think, or
Yeah, it's got
wires
to be
that's lifted
wise.
him
Yeah,
up?
it's got to be wise.
Yeah, very very cool. Jumps up, yabba dabba doo. He's all happy. And then we get a gag of someone delivering newspapers which are made out of stone, and then one of them smashes against people's houses, and
Yeah,
another one
that I thought
sinks
that
them.
was quite funny.
That'd be
I thought
so
that was quite
annoying.
funny.
Again.
You know,
Lands in some.
the evil plan doesn't make any sense, right? So they are planning to embezzle money from the company and pin it on an idiot who they've
Yeah.
promoted to exec level. So they choose the person who scores the highest in the
Yes,
test.
that bothered
Now,
me as
how does
well.
that make a lick of sense? Surely you'd hire the person who scored the lowest in the
Yeah,
test.
which would have been Barney, and that would have been more interesting if Barney figures out really early on what the hell's going on or something like that, and then maybe he gets fired. You know what I mean? That would have been made a more interesting story.
Yeah, but they
Yeah,
don't. They just have it doesn't make a tiny bit of sense. And
no,
also, embezzling and business, Stu, right? Stu, yeah. Kids film. Kids film. You're not
but you
kids
know
night.
what? Do you know
Business.
what? Business.
Business.
But but you say that right? I'm thinking this is my problem. This movie. How could they have made it kiddie? Like even if you watch the Flintstones cartoon, he was always doing silly schemes and getting himself into mischief and all this sort of stuff. But it's like, do you just do a film about him going about his daily life? There's got to be some sort of conflict. I've really struggled with. So how do you come up with a plot for this? But then that begs the question: well, why make the film?
Yeah, exactly. If you can't come up with a plot for a kids film, and in fact want to make an adult film set in a kids world,
Yeah,
then don't bother.
don't
Or
bother.
proper double down one way or the other. Make it an adult film. Make it,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think you'd have to do too much for this to make an adult film, or make it properly funny.
yeah.
Don't make it whatever this is, which is just slightly boring.
It's just a big mismatch. He doesn't know what he wants to be.
It's a bit of a misfire. I mean, I can see what they're trying to do, and I can see, you say, like all of the sets, all the animatronics, everything. The world building is fantastic. It looks great. Like you can see every penny of the money that's been spent on this up on screen, right?
Definitely.
You can see it, and you think it's the kind of place where you think, I'd really wish they'd kept the sets knocking around because it'd be a very cool place to visit and have a look around. But
Definitely. Yeah.
they didn't. They knocked it all down. But
One can
when
dream.
it was open for a little while afterwards and people who live locally could go and visit it,
That'd be cool.
that would have been cool. Oh, I don't know why they didn't like it. Again, so I went to Florida last year in the Universal Studios. They've got like recreations of film sets, and they don't have this, which seems, again, considering some of the weird things they do have, it wouldn't take a lot to build a little bit of bedrock.
Don't know. Maybe they just thought it's only going to be like us folk from the 90s who actually want to see it, like kids today, just like, oh, and who cares?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Don't know. Yeah, and also in that newspaper we get a picture of Fred, and he looks like Fred from the cartoon. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of funny.
Yes, continue.
So it's the first day on the job for Fred, and we see he's got a prehistoric alarm clock, and then again we get that really really good puppetry again. So as he's grooming himself, he's like having a shave with some like creature that's biting him, and then he's having a shower by some mammoth. Now, part of me thought got pretty bothered. Why are you having a shave before the shower? I would always have a shower then the shave. Bothered me.
I always have a shower. I have a shave in the shower.
What with the electric one? Ah!
No, I don't even use like shaving cream. I just
Oh, no, makes sense. But yeah, I mean,
there you go. That's for the listeners.
There you go. There you go. And this really bothered me as well. The woolly mammoth that's like showering him, like, ugh. Like, surely it's just like drunk a load of water and it's just spitting it all on Fred. I was like, how's that clean?
Some people pay good money for that kind of stuff. Stu.
Well, again, kids' film.
Kids film.
Oh, but yeah, Fred's looking all fly for his new day at the job, and he says to Barney, "Look, I'm going to vow to, help everyone, give everyone benefits, make sure everyone's, work life is a bit better." This bit always made me laugh. He ponces some money off Barney for some lunch. I was like, "Wait, well, you don't have like $2 or whatever for lunch?" And then now, I don't know if you've spotted this. Fred goes inside the Slate and Co building. Is that the Jurassic Park set? Because
It
immediately I
looked,
thought that.
it looked like I don't. I think it was too small to be the Jurassic Park set.
But you know what bit I'm talking about when dinosaurs ruled the earth and all
Yeah, yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't think so. I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but it didn't come up in my research.
Okay. Well, I thought we did. Anyway, Cliff meets him and he introduces Fred to his new office and subsequently his secretary. And this is when we find out Miss Stone is called Sharon Stone. Now, even as
Now
a kid,
comes
I found.
no.
Go on, no, go on. I know
No,
what you're
go on,
going to
go
say.
on, go on, go on. No, no. Even as a kid, go on.
Even as a kid, right, I found that jarring because I knew who Sharon Stone was because I probably watched Basic Instinct a lot younger than I probably should have done. All right. So, I knew who Sharon Stone was. So when Halle Berry walked out, I went, what? I was like, this joke is shit. Like, what? Why?
Well, I'll tell you for why, and it will come as no surprise to you that it was originally offered to Sharon Stone, who couldn't do it for scheduling conflicts.
Oh, just not.
Now, I would have found that even weirder if Sharon Stone had been playing Sharon Stone.
Yeah,
What?
but at least the joke
Because
would work. If they couldn't get the Sharon Stone, why just not call Halle Berry something else? I don't know. I just found
yeah,
it really odd. But yeah.
yeah, no. Anyway,
Anyway, so Sharon Stone, air
you could
quotes.
have called her Miss. You could have called her like Miss Poundstone or something.
Yeah, something
That's kind of
like
a suggestive name.
that. Which also would have worked for the real Sharon Stone. Anyway.
Well, my
Anyway.
middle name's Pound.
Anyway. But yeah,
Anyway,
this Sharon Stone starts acting really slutty around Fred, and he's all like, oh.
sexy secretary. You know what, Stu? Kids film.
Kids film. Kids
Kids
film.
film.
Yep.
Kids really connect with the idea of a sexy secretary. They're like, yeah, I know my secretary. Oh,
Yeah, and I remember watching this with my parents and being deeply uncomfortable. Like, yeah, this is supposed to be a kids' film. This woman's being all slutty. Like, yeah, didn't like it. Yep, Fred meets his Dicta Bird, and yeah, I guess that's the thing. And then starts.
I thought the puppetry in the Dictabird was really, really good.
Was good, yeah,
Really good.
yeah. Stuffy old Brit Dicta Bird, but yep. And then Fred starts showing off to his co-workers from his window, and I've noticed this. John Goodman has got really good arms for a fat man. He's got a lot of definition on his arms, but apparently very smelly armpits because the Dicta Bird didn't like it. There you go. Then we get Cliff and Miss Stoner discussing their diabolical scheme. They're going to invoice fake clients and keep the money whilst Fred gets to sign all the correspondence. Like, this is literally what this film's about. What
Kids
the
film.
fuck?
Kids film. Uh, you know what? You know what kids really like? What you can really connect with in the playground? Contract law.
Again, this goes back to what would the plot have been? There had to be some sort of evil boss if it was going to be a work-related.
You could have done no. Why make it a work-related film? Why not do it like I don't know, top of my head,
kidnapped or something? He's got to go rescue him or something like that.
or dinosaurs, or like the end of the world, like it's the Ice Age or something like that.
That could have been cool.
There's like a meteorite coming, and they're trying to
Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, this is why we're writers, and there's 35 of them. They couldn't come out with shit. Anyway,
I mean, I've just come up with a slightly better plot in about a minute.
Exactly, and how? So Cliff wants to test Fred's loyalty, and he's going to get him to fire Barney for getting the lowest on the test. That monster. And then he threatens Fred that if you don't fire him, then you're going to be fired as well. I guess he's got no choice. What an arsehole. Fred and Barney.
would you fire me if you were given that choice?
No, I don't think I would. If it was...
Oh, I'd fire you in a heartbeat.
Oh,
wouldn't even think about it. I'd be like, no, I'm not getting fired. Piss off. Bye, Stu.
But you know what? You would, because I know what a creep you are. Like, it weren't my choice, mate.
Wait, look.
I'm but the messenger. Yeah,
Hands are tied,
exactly.
mate.
Such a shit. Yeah. So, yeah. Fred and Barney come home to a surprise party in Fred's house for Fred's promotion, which has been organised by Barney and Betty. And then we get a primitive record player starts playing Walk the Dinosaur.
It's the
second movie. It's the second movie we've covered. We've Walked the fucking Dinosaur in it.
And it's been in my fucking head ever since I watched it. I'm just walking around like dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's a terrible song.
It is a terrible song.
It's a terrible song.
I know, but it's dinosaur related, so it's punny.
That's why it's in there.
Yep. And then suddenly we see that Pearl, the mother-in-law, has stopped being an old cow, and actually now she's proud of Fred for some reason. I'm like, right, you fickle woman, you've changed ever so quick. And then Barney starts giving another speech, and he's got a gift for Fred for his promotion, and Fred, that corporate shit, then fires Barney, and Yeah, and then Pearl's a real bitch to him as well. She's like, he doesn't want that tacky thing. Like, leave my Freddie alone. Oh, awful. And then she couldn't give care less because then she starts doing a conga dance with everyone in the party. I think she's the real villain in this film.
I think Elizabeth Taylor's having a lovely time.
Yeah, for all of the 3 or 4 scenes that she's in. Oh dear. Then Barney's surprisingly upbeat about being fired, and then when Fred explains that, oh, you got fired for getting the lowest test score, he's like, oh. Next day we get that visual gag of Jurassic Park, which I thought, that kind of works with the kids' playground. It's Jurassic Park, yeah. And then as you mentioned, we get Rock Donald. It's just a shame.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work. And it's a shameless tie-in with the real McDonald's. And then, this bit really pissed me off. Wilma and Betty are shopping, and then Bam Bam, the little bastard, smashes a load of crystals. Like, oh, God! Oh, you could just see it. Yeah. Then what happens? Oh, yeah, then we get the board meeting by Mr. Slate.
No, is that not the bit where the pterodactyl attack? Or is
no. I've got a specific point about that. I'm sure you.
Yeah, I've got a specific point about that.
Yeah. Then we get to the board meet, and then we meet Mr. Slate, who's the owner of this company, and he's only in like 2 scenes. And it's supposed to be a running joke that he keeps calling Fred Flagstones. Like, he calls him Flagstone once.
Yeah, one time. But he's cartoon accurate though. He looks exactly like the cartoon version.
Yeah,
Mr. Slate. I mean, that's very well done.
Yeah, it's very cool. And then Cliff's going on about his plan to get rid of the quarry workers because he's got this new assembly line that's sort of self-sufficient and steam powered and that sort of thing. And I thought the practical effects of even that model were really cool. That's really cool.
I probably remember when I was a kid, like, oh, I'm one of them. That'd be quite cool.
It reminded me of that ball game, Mousetrap. Do you remember that? When you knocked the ball when it went down and something.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And then Fred makes a complete arse of himself with a lame joke about, if you build houses this small, how are people going to fit inside? I was like,
Zoolander stole that joke.
Oh, did they?
It's Zoolander. Much later on, there's the bit where he's got the Zoolander school for children who can't read good and want to learn to do other stuff good too. Is that what it's called?
Oh, it's been long since I watched Zoolander.
And he's got this thing, and he says, "Oh, what is this? A school for ants? It needs to be at least twice as big as this." And it's the same joke. It's because it's a model.
I'm sure it's funnier though when it's coming out of Zoolander's mouth though, rather than.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't funny. The bit I wrote about this scene is the bit where the guy's going, steam powered conveyor belt. He's a madman. It's like, that's got to be someone, because there's no way that they've just cut to an extra and delivered. It's William Hanna. It's William Hanna from Hanna-Barbera. And I saw it without knowing that. I was like, I bet you that's one of Hanna-Barbera, because there's no way that they've just cut to an extra and given him a line for no reason.
Yeah, and Joseph Barbera is in it later, but his role is a lot less
He's in
noticeable.
A car. He's just driving in a car, yeah.
Exactly.
He doesn't get any lines.
No. Sorry, we keep diving at Smith Trivia before it's time. Then we cut back to the shopping precinct, and Betty can't pay for the damage, so Wilma has to pay for it. And then Betty's upset that they're broke, and Barney's out of work, and they might lose Bam Bam and all that sort of thing. And then we get to this bit for no reason whatsoever. A pterodactyl shits in a car. I'm like, why?
But it attacks, and everybody runs around, and I was like, oh, is that gonna come back later? I don't remember it coming back later. And then I thought, does a pterodactyl come and carry off Carl McLaughlin at the end? Is that what happens?
That would have made more sense, right?
Can't remember when I was a kid, and I thought maybe that's no, don't come back at all. No point to it. Just happens, and just shits in a car.
And then part of me thought, is that Betty's car just adding to their bad luck or something? But no, you don't find out. Nope.
No, that's just a shit joke.
Literally a shit joke.
Literally, yeah.
Oh, then we get Fred's practicing a speech for Mr. Slate to give all the quarry workers benefits. And at this point, Miss Stone comes in being all slutty again, and she wants him to sign these requisitions and doesn't want him to read them. And then, she's being a real temptress at this point. And then, like, Wilma walks in. I don't know why this scene just made me feel deeply, deeply uncomfortable. Again, even when I was a kid, it made me feel deeply uncomfortable. Yeah, and then Wilma catches Fred wanting him to bang her, essentially, but it doesn't happen. And then, Fred shows Wilma the dictator bird. I wonder if this will come back later.
Well, some of it does, some of it doesn't. You always got a 50-50 on this film, what will and won't come back.
Yeah, just like the pterodactyl shit, it doesn't come back. But yeah. Wilma tells Fred that the Rubbles are in, terrible situation, and they're going to come live with them. And initially it all seems nice. The wives are all cooking together and being all nice, but then immediately you see Fred's being a right dickhead to Barney out in the garden when they're having a barbecue. He's making quips like, it's only going to be temporary, they're going to live here. He goes, it better be. Ha, 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 ha. Arsehole.
Uh,
If you were down on your luck, you said, "Can I move in with you, Bill?" Like, yeah, all right. We'll be a shit about it though. I'll constantly remind you how much of a burden you are. Yeah,
you leaving yet? You've been
yeah.
here for 45 solid minutes.
Please
That's
go.
not where the cups go.
Yeah,
Not where they go.
hindsight's a bad on it. And then just to add insult to injury, like Dino runs off a Barney's stake. He's like, "Yeah, that's your one." And he starts chasing after him. Although we get a really good effect where Barney's holding on to Dino's tail and just gets like dragged across the cave. And how have they
Mm.
done that? Presumably it's just a wire, but I'm like, oh
Yeah,
god,
she was a wire and they've digitized it and he's just been dragged across. I mean, he does some, he looks like he does some of his own stunts. There's a bit at
yeah,
the end when he's falling down a hill where it looks like it really fucking hurt.
yeah, that's definitely Rick Moranis getting dragged across. But yeah, wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if he did do his own stunts. We get a scene where like, Fred's looking out the window, like being a bit sad that he's not working with the quarry workers, and they're all like swimming and having a lovely time. Get back to work, you slackers. Oh, and then he starts fucking around with that model that Cliff was demonstrating earlier.
Yeah.
That he typically breaks it, like with the catapult. I wonder
Mm.
if this will come back later.
Foreshadow. Maybe that was their trick. They put a bunch of stuff in so you don't know what's foreshadowing and what's just
Yeah,
random nonsense.
yeah, there you go. Maybe the ending was supposed to be a pterodactyl shitting on Carl McLaughlin. Who knows? Yeah, then Fred starts speaking to Miss Stone about his concerns about the quarry and all the work that's being put out at work. And then she has like a moment of humanity. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry about, I hope I didn't get you in trouble with your wife and that sort of thing." And Fred's like, "Oh, no, I love my wife," blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. And then,
And that's enough to make her start to question her evil
yeah,
schemes.
yeah, yeah, that he loves his wife.
Maybe not everybody's irredeemable.
Hmm. And then, yeah, she starts relaying her concerns to Cliff and like, "Oh, no, maybe we should stop all this." And then he forces a kiss on her. And I was really confused. Like, are these two together or are they just in cahoots? Because if they're just in cahoots, they're not together. I was like, rapey bastard, Cliff, leave her
I think they're
alone.
meant to be. I think they're meant to be an item, right?
Okay, fine. Well, probably still not good to force a kiss on her, but yeah, okay.
No, that's just as a rule of thumb. Don't be doing that on anyone.
No, no, definitely not. But Cliff's like, no, we're going to carry on this scheme, but maybe we can distract Fred. We'll just give him like a huge bonus and a pay rise, and that's when we get like a montage of Fred and Wilma being rich and living the high life, and we get in the
she
BC
buys a
52.
dress in the montage where
Oh, that she was trying on my Betty earlier.
yeah,
She?
I thought she'd already bought it. I was like, no, okay,
I
fine.
think she was gonna buy it, but then when Bam Bam smashed all that shit up, then she was just like,
Spend,
"Oh, yeah, I've got to
more
pay
money
for
on
that
that
now."
instead.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Bam Bam. Yeah, then we hear the BC 52's version of
Oh, that works.
the theme
I
song
mean, that
during
does
this.
work.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, and Barney's got all these shitty jobs while they were being all rich, and then you can see that they've replaced the garbage pig as well. I was like, I wonder if this will come back later. Well, they did confuse me if that is the same pig later on. I'm assuming it is.
I'm assuming, yeah, it's the same pig.
Yeah.
Which kind of, yeah.
Yeah. You see Betty's getting all fucked off for the Flintstones as well. There's a funny shot of Barney's now a crash test dummy for some reason. He's just getting, and again, same stunt. That looks like Rick Moranis in that. Yeah, Betty's moaning to Barney about their shitty situation, and now the Flintstones have changed. And then Barney says, "Oh, tomorrow I've got to be testing shark repellent." What does that even mean? They're just going to put a load of shark repellent on him and throw him in the water.
I'd assume so.
Oh, funny. Cliff brings Fred a stack of pink slips, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, they're going to get some much-needed time off." Oh,
Wink, wink.
you terrible shit, Cliff.
There's no way you could take that in any other way in which I've said it.
Yeah. And the Dictator Bird tries to warn Fred, and he essentially just tells him to fuck off. Then,
I mean, that was a bold piece of dialogue for a kids' film. Why don't you fuck off?
fuck off,
Yabba dabba do on you prick.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. By the way, does the Dictator Bird actually have a name, or is it just Dictator Bird?
I don't know, like Jeff Dictabird.
Jeff Dictabird. Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Dictabird.
Yeah. Then we get to dinner at a fancy restaurant. Oh no, because before that, Fred says he's gonna take his wife Wilbur to a nice restaurant. He goes, "Oh, that sounds pricey. Make sure you put that on the company expenses." Oh, this job's awesome. And then we get to said restaurant, and the BC 52s are performing. And I must say, this is a very well choreographed dance that they're all doing.
Yeah, well, it's the same song that was on the radio at the beginning.
Oh, the town called Bedrock, whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's written by Weird Al Yankovic.
Well, there you go.
Bedrock Twist is written by Weird Al.
Why didn't they just have Weird Al in it? This sort of film would have been right up his street.
I know. It's also weird that, again, it's one of those things that makes me cringe in films when they have songs written for films. Like whenever you have like a band in a film that's not a real band, it's always like kind of anus puckeringly cringe. It's like because they're never good. It's never
Yeah.
good. It's always like shit because real songs are hard to write. And this is just like it's just like oh, I feel myself dying inside as I was watching it. It's like get on with it.
I didn't mind it. Yeah. Then we see at this restaurant, Barney's working as a waiter and he's really being treated like shit. And I think his Fred's like, "Oh, you're a waiter here?" I was like, "He's done worse jobs than this. Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Also,
Big
what did you think he was doing?
exactly?" And then he makes a really terrible remark to Will. Was like, "Oh, you thought we'd be stuck with him forever?" I was like, "Shut up! You're such an asshole."
Did you happen to notice who the maitre d was at this restaurant?
No,
Who was playing him?
no. Who is it?
Doyle.
Doyle. Oh, we should get t-shirts with Doyle.
Doyle. I
Oh
read that
no!
earlier. I was like, yeah.
Oh, amazing! I can't believe I missed that. I'll have to tell my wife; she'll find that funny. Yeah. And then Barney, when he's getting them a new tablecloth, he sees on the news that it was Fred who fired all the quarry workers, and then there's a big old argument with Barney and Fred, and he's saying like, "I'm the one who switched the exam papers with you," and for some reason, even like Wilma's not believing it and thinking it's all nonsense, and then Betty's angry with them and saying, "Oh, you're both a couple of rich snobs," and then Barney knocks Fred on his ass. Yeah, yeah, he kind of had that coming. He was being really arrogant.
Yeah.
But the thing is that was he? Because yeah, he was rich and they upgraded their house. They were living the high life, but they were living in their house as well. So
Yeah, but also you would, right? If I was rich,
exactly.
I would have a nicer house
Yeah, I'm
or
not gonna.
a nice car. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna live in a shit house. Not that my
Yeah,
house
because
is shit.
otherwise,
My
then you
flat's
get
lovely,
accused
but
of being a tight ass. Like, oh, you've got all this money and you're not doing anything. Ooh, so you can't win, can you?
no.
No, no, you can't win. Anyway, so at this point, Barney and Betty leave. They're moving out of the Flintstones house, and then it's a really funny line when Wilma says, "Aren't you sad they're leaving?" And he was like, "No, not really." And he was like, at least now I can walk around the house in my underwear again." He goes, "That's more important to you than 20 years of friendship." Because it's on a hot day. I don't know why that popped me as much as it did. It was funny. So yeah, the Rubbles leave. Wilma starts smashing up the house, and then she leaves Fred, and Fred's all sad that she's gone. And then Barney and Betty are now living outdoors for some reason. Surely
They're
they doesn't have.
homeless.
Yeah, but he still have had jobs this whole time. They have not been high-paying jobs. They still have got a little bit of money. Couldn't they stay somewhere? I don't know.
Well, that's true because I don't think they'd have been paying rent to Flintstones.
Yeah, because I understood that they were moving in with the Flintstones and they were renting their house out to get a bit of money. Again, kids film. But yeah.
Kids film. Oh yeah, yeah. So that's what kids can really engage with in the playground, Stu. It's rent.
Yes, exactly.
Not the musical about AIDS. No, the concept of paying to live. Yeah. Rent. Kids film. By the way, just still going to go back very, very quickly. I missed one of my notes I'd written down. What is it about 90s movies that feel the need to have a song and dance number? Mario's got one, The Mask has got one, this has got one.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
It's
yeah.
there's always a bit in the middle of the thing. You know what people really want? Dancing. It feels minutes of time.
Well, do you know what? This film is like an hour 25. And like three of the
feels fucking longer.
3 minutes of this was that dance scene. So yeah, you're right. They really had a shitty script.
We are running up to 10 minutes under. We need to play a long dance sequence.
They finished the song. Encore! They just do it again.
It's the BC 52.
Again. Yeah, and this bit makes no sense. Like, they're living outdoors, apparently, and Bam Bam still can't say dada. And then Betty apparently has stolen a dinosaur's egg and gives the dinosaur the egg back, but there's no consequence. It's like, surely the dinosaur would have just killed them for doing that.
Also, it's really weird in this, and I guess it comes back to the cartoon, right? And you can't really judge it too hardly on this, but some animals are food, some animals are service animals, some animals are just animals. Monkeys work at quarries.
And some animals can speak and others can't.
Yeah. And yet they are still like servants.
I don't know. Maybe Hanna-Barbera are on drugs when they were doing this cartoon. I don't know. What's the 60s? Yep. Then we get workers protesting as Fred arrives at work, and then he's looking through the files and realizes he's been proper stitched up, and he's the one responsible for all the embezzling. And then when he confronts Cliff, he basically tells him, "Well, you're fucked, and we've called the old bill, now they're after you." So Fred flees, and then we get a newspaper. It's like Tango and Cash, and again it's that cartoon of him. And then this bit annoyed me. Like they're at Wilma's mother's house, Pearl, and Betty and Bam Bam come to visit them. I was like, what? I thought Betty was angry at Wilma. Why is she just like instantly forgiven her and come back to see her?
They've got over it.
Got over it real quick, and then Pearl's gone back to hating Fred again immediately.
This is the bit where Wilma like goes to the door because she hears the doorbell, and she says, "Oh, I hope it's not the A Rock lady again." And again, see, this is not a pun. You've just
She,
put rock instead of Von in Avon, and she says A Rock lady.
I didn't
Like,
hear A Rock. I heard it as
oh
Avon. Is it
no,
definitely A Rock?
she says A Rock lady, and it's like, for fuck's sake.
No, that's not a pun at all. That's
Lazy.
just lazy and shit. But no, it's not the Avon, A Rock, whoever it is. Betty and Bam Bam.
It's Betty and Batman.
Yeah. So then we see that downtown Fred is in disguise and he's trying to keep a low profile. And then we see. Go on.
Sorry. Did you miss it? Is it when they're at Wilma's mum's that they've got the TV program with, or is that in a bit with Jay Leno?
It's intercut. So Jay Leno now, Fred sees on the telly, it's Bedrock's Most Wanted, and Jay Leno is on the TV. And it's a reenactment of all of Fred's crimes.
Whoever it is who's playing goes, I'm embezzling. Made me laugh my ass off.
And the woman who's supposed to be Halle Berry doesn't look anything like her. I'm shocked. That was really funny.
That was really funny.
The Cliff person is Sam Raimi. I was like,
yes, it is. Yeah.
Why did they cast Sam Raimi to be the fake Cliff on this reenactment? Bizarre.
Probably mates with someone.
Truly bizarre. But then it's cut with Wilma and Pearl watching it at their house, and then that's when they spot the dictator bird on the TV. Then Fred's made his way down to the down and outs in the rough part of town. I couldn't work out, are these all the quarry workers or the quarry workers and some down and outs? But yeah, who knows?
I think it's probably all the quarry workers who are now down and outs. That and a pig.
Yep, and a pig, yep. And then down on his luck pig, and he spots Fred through his disguise and then starts being like, Fred. Why? Why did the bit of Willow not freak you out, but this fucking pig does?
It's the sound. I don't know what it is. The noise it makes is horrendous. It's harrowing.
Sounds like they didn't. Willow were harrowing. They were harrowing. They were becoming pigs.
Oh, I don't know.
You're a weird man. Anyway.
Thank you.
And then, Fred calls him a squealer. I was like, as he runs off. And the quarry workers give chase to Fred. And then at this point, we get, excuse me, Cliff is cleaning out the safe. And then Miss Stone realizes he's got absolutely no intention of taking her with him to wherever they go. Was it Rockapolo or something? Like
Rockapolco instead of Acapulco. Again, not a pun if you just put the word rock in other words.
Indeed. Well, he's not taken her to this imaginary place. And at this point, he sees that. Oh, no, he hasn't seen that yet. Wilma's then goes into Fred's office to take the dictator bird. I don't know why it made me really laugh. He just makes this really funny fart sound. He goes, "This is what I want to say to you." I know it's so childish, but it really made me laugh. I'm a simple soul, as you said earlier. And then Betty starts beating the shit out of it, and then Cliff looks out the window and sees that they're running off with a dictator bird. And
what would they want with a stupid dictator?
Oh no, son of a brachiosaurus! There you go. Then the quarry workers accost Fred and they go to hang him. I was like, wow, this shit got dark really quick. Do
you know what kids can really connect with in the playground? Lynching.
Yeah, I remember in the cartoon when Fred and Barney were hung.
Yeah,
it got hilarious.
The old lynching tree. Gonna string up the Flintstones.
Oh,
I mean,
God, no, it's not good. Then Barney turns up in a Snowco van, and I don't know whether you spotted it, but the tune that's playing on the Snowco van is the Jetsons theme tune.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Yeah, it did. It goes do 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 do. I was like, the Jetsons. Yeah. Again, I like the Jetsons. I prefer it to Flintstones.
Also, again, in service of a pun, they've got I've got cherry, I've got whatever he says, and then he's got Rocky Road. That won't work. Won't work on a snow cone at all. Snow cone shaved ice.
Yeah,
we didn't put marshmallow and chocolate in it. Yeah, it's bullshit.
Oh,
Biscuit, marshmallow, chocolate in ice. Are you insane?
It's horrible.
That'd be fucking horrible. No, get away.
And then Barney's stupid. He's like, "Oh yeah, he's my best friend, but this is kind of my fault this happened." So the quarry goes, "Oh cool, let's hang him as well." Fucking idiot. And then at this point, I guess backhandedly, Fred apologies to Barney and says that he's a great friend. But then before they can be hung, Wilma and Betty arrive with the Dicta bird and stop them being lynched. But the Dicta bird demands an apology from Fred, which he gives. So yeah, it's all fine. Fred's innocent, believes this bird, it's all good. Then what happens? Oh yeah, then the Flintstones and the Rubbles. I suppose it's Pearl's house they go to because that's where.
No, it's their house.
Is it? Oh yeah, because Dino's there.
Yeah, it's their house. So she's clearly taken the kids back to their home. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, the kids have been.
It's like they forgot. It's like whoever was writing it forgot what was going on, or maybe it was a different writer from scene to scene, and they didn't bother following on.
This was writer 27. Yeah. But we see that Pearl and Dino have been tied up, and Fred couldn't give a shit that Pearl's tied up, which I thought was quite funny. And there's a ransom note saying that Pebbles and Bam Bam have been kidnapped, and if you want them back, you've got to bring the Dicta bird. Right now, hang on. You established early on that Bam Bam is really, really strong, yeah? So when Cliff came in, why did he just beat the shit out of him when he tried to kidnap him? Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all. And then why, when he's later tied up, does he not just escape from being tied up?
Exactly. And then we see that, the kids have been tied to that assembly line in the quarry. And, at this point, Fred gives Cliff the Dicta bird and he makes a shit joke about, I should have signed with Disney instead. I was like,
no, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Doesn't make any sense.
No, doesn't make any sense.
What Disney property would you have been in?
Well, yeah.
No, wait. I mean, at the time, what? The Rescuers? Oh, right, maybe.
Perhaps.
Ignore me. Probably, maybe Rescuers Down Under or something, yeah. Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Good. Right, moving on.
Anyway, so even though he's got the Dicta bird back, that bastard Cliff starts the machine regardless. And then Barney goes to save the kids via the catapult. And yeah, as you said, it's like, it looks like Rick Moranis did his own stunt with that. I was like, oh, God, that looked like it really hurt. Then what happens? Then the Dicta bird bites Cliff and manages to escape, and then Barney makes it to the kids, but then Bam Bam calls him Dada. Oh, isn't that nice?
Oh, well, whoever was dubbing in Bam Bam's voice called him Dada.
Yeah, clearly not the Icelandic kid.
Yeah. Dada. Boom, boom.
But then Don Don gets walloped with the machine gets knocked out. And then Fred starts trying to think of a plan about what he could do to save the day. And he has that funny vision of Pearl with the dinosaur going, and he starts laughing.
Not now.
Yeah, that was really good. Even as a kid, I love that joke as well.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
But then he remembers breaking that model from earlier on. It's like, oh, that did come back then. At which point, he starts. Does he start messing about with it? Oh, no. That's when Cliff then goes to shoot the Dicta bird with what looked like a catapult gun thing.
I don't think it would have killed the bird.
No, just hurt it a bit. And then Miss Stone has arrived, and then she wallops Cliff with a newspaper, I presume, knocking him out. Fred readjusts the machine and fires off a catapult, sabotaging the machine, and thus saving Barney and the kids. That somehow has created concrete. I was like, wait, what?
It was water mixed with dust, mixed with... maybe that's how you make concrete. I'm not. Look, it's not going to come as any surprise to you, but I'm not an engineer.
No. And also, kids film.
Yeah, you know what kids can really connect with, Stu, on the playground? Construction and how you make concrete.
I don't know. Bob the Builder's really popular, so there must be something.
Well, you know what? Shut my mouth. That's probably true. Matt, and if a 9-year-old, if you said to me, what's one of the things you'd love to do most in this world? Getting in a concrete mixer would have been right up there.
True.
Because it looked real fun.
There's that theme park thing called like Diggerland where you can get in like quarry trucks and things like that. That sounds awesome. I'll be well up for that.
This is teaching you for a job of menial labour. Get in a digger, you.
Smashing shit.
Money's in the office.
Yeah, that's true. Being a Cliff. My evil scheme. Embezzle all that money.
That's what I do.
Ooh. Yep. Shut up.
I'm embezzling.
It's not cool. You're going to get us in trouble again. Anyway. Fred knocks Cliff over with his makeshift bowling ball, just like he did earlier on at the bowling alley, and then he just gets like covered in concrete. It's like, murder? You've essentially killed this man. He's now encased in concrete.
Yeah, he's dead.
He's totally dead. The cops arrive, and then the Dicta bird starts telling them what happened, thus clearing Fred. I was like, that's how it works.
He didn't do it. I believe the bird.
And then Miss Stone is arrested, and Stephen starts being acting all slutty again around Fred, and he just can't help himself around her. And then Bam Bam's gone back to being feral again. He can't say Dada. Then we get Mr. Slate arrive, and he calling Fred by his proper name now. He goes, at least he got my name right. Like, once he called you Flagstone. Once.
Yeah, it wasn't a running thing.
No, if it was a running joke, like you saw Mr. Slate in 3 or 4 scenes, and he kept calling him Flagstone, it might have made sense. But yeah, Mr. Slate said, he goes, Flagstone. but he's really impressed with him because he's created concrete and he wants Fred to be part of the construction and be the president of the concrete production line or some shit. I don't know.
Something
But
like that.
yeah, Fred goes to celebrate with that really impressive stunt where he jumps up and then he kind of realizes mid celebrational note and sort of slowly flutters down, which I thought was quite good.
Yeah, it was quite a neat little visual effect, that, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite funny. And he turns down Mr. Slate's offer and he just wants his old job back, all the workers to have their job back, full benefits and little packs of ketchup for the lunchroom, and everybody's happy. That's nice. And then Fred suggests they all go to dinner, but then he tries to ponce money off Barney again. And it literally just ends with him just like chasing him around. I was like, what was he going to do when he caught up with him? Beat up with him? Or was he just meant to be like, oh, you? Like, I never really understood the ending of that.
And then, well, no, and then it's back out. That's when it zooms out, out of the screen into the film they were just watching of their own lives.
Yes. And then that's when we get the exact replica of the exit credits of the Flintstones, including them dumping the cat outside him. I was like, going, Wilma. I was like, look, thing is, if you're going to put that cat out, why don't you take keys? Yeah. Why don't you just learn from this? And every time you put that cat out, it jumps through the window.
Well, maybe get some double glazing, eh?
Exactly.
Maybe like some windows.
Then we get credits and the BC-52's version of the song again, and then we get a shit card about no dinosaurs were harmed in the making of this movie, and the people of Bedrock, we thank them for the participation in this film.
I think the Flintstones album, including the BC-52's version of the Flintstones theme, was the first album I ever owned.
My God.
A CD of it. It might still be somewhere. I don't tend to throw things away.
Do you still have it?
Maybe. I have to go and look in my lockup. Dig out my old CD box.
Good grief. Right then, that was the plot. So let's rewind back. 1994. You watched it at the cinema, making your poor parents go watch this tripe. What did you love or hate about it back then?
I loved it back then. I loved it. It was colourful. It was loud. That's all I needed. I really enjoyed. I think I just enjoyed it. I think again, this sort of kind of falls in the same period as The Mask, where basically every film I watched, I loved. Because it was just a new film that I hadn't seen before, and I was quite happy to watch it again and again and again and again and again and again. And yeah, I thought it was really good. I can't really offer much more insight into my 9-year-old brain other than it was colourful, it was funny, and I think just the world building probably attracted me. How about you?
I didn't love it as a kid. Like maybe because by the time I watched it, it'd been out nearly a year and I was a little bit older. So you watched it when you were like 9. I guess I was nearly 11 when I watched it. So I guess I thought maybe it was a little bit childish. Like, yeah, thought it was okay. Didn't hate it. Didn't love it. I think I enjoyed it more then than I do now. But I don't remember having strong opinions of it either way. I've certainly seen it a lot of times. Like whenever it's one of those movies. If it's on like
I've seen it loads.
Because I never had it on video or anything, but whenever it was on Sky or on like, I don't know, normal telly or whatever, if it was on, and I'll watch it. Even if I just caught it at a random bit, I would just watch it.
I had it on video, so I would have watched it again and again. And when I was rewatching it now for the first time in a long, long, long time, I remembered quite a lot of it, like almost beat for beat, like it came back to me, like, here, yeah, that's what, I remember all of this. Like, there wasn't anything where I was like, I don't remember that. It all came back to me. Like, even if I couldn't tell you what was about to happen, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, no, okay, yeah, I remember this. And it's weird, this film, in that when it came out, critically panned, right? Everyone fucking hated it. Commercially, did really well, and then everyone's just forgotten about it. It's not talked about. It's not held in high regard. It's not held in particularly low regard, I don't think, by most people. Most people just probably don't remember it even existed, which is strange.
That is strange, because when we announced we're going to do this episode, I had a few people ping us, being like, oh my God, Flintstones, I love that film when I was a kid. I'm so pumped for you covering that. I can't wait. And like, really? Well, this was like a forgotten classic, but like classic. You know what I mean? Oh, interesting. All right. So what do you love or hate about it now? Or it's probably somewhere in between, right?
Elizabeth Perkins. No.
Yeah, she's quite hot in this, actually.
So what do I? Well, so I think I've said this already. The world building, the sets, the costumes, everything. There is such invention and artistry on display through all of it. And like the production designer, is the same guy that did Top Recall and did RoboCop, so he's used to building these worlds, and it looks fantastic,
It
right? And
does.
every down to the littlest detail, they thought of every little thing. The casting is spot on,
Yep.
like spot on. Like you can't see anybody else in these roles and thinking that they'd be anyway better or improve upon what's there. The performances are all, you can't fault them either. Right? You can't look at anybody and say you were bad. Right? It's why I don't understand the Rosie O'Donnell bit. Also, Elizabeth Taylor got nominated for a Razzie as well, and it's like, why? What possibly in that performance is bad? It's fine. Right? It's all fine.
I
Everybody's
think
good.
sometimes they say like it's a waste. It's a waste of talent being in that role. You're almost embarrassing yourself by doing this role.
I don't think so. I think people just hate Rosie O'Donnell.
I was talking more about
and
Elizabeth Taylor, but yeah, people do hate
right.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah. I don't know why. And yeah. So that is all great.
That's
The
your good stuff.
problem
Yep.
is the plot and the script. There's bits that work. I mean, I've been joking, but come on, kids film, right? What is all of this? Like,
Yeah,
who
exactly.
is this? It's at no point am I sure who this is meant to actually be for. Like, who's meant to be sitting down watching and enjoying this film? It doesn't make a fucking bit of sense. And it kind of ruins it a little bit. Like it does. I mean, I say it's what 85, 90 minutes, and it feels it. It feels longer. It drags in the middle. Like it almost feels like a grinding example of those 90s. Like it could be any 90s film. Like, oh, here's the bit where they fall out. Here's the bit where they make up. Here's the dance sequence. Here's the unnecessary, here's the bad puns. Here's the kids. And I mean, obviously, the Flintstones have the kids anyway, but it's just like all the little bits are just shoehorned in. Actually, talking of which, the kids get pretty short change. Bam Bam and Pebbles have feck all to do in the entire thing.
Well, I
mean,
think
I was just actually looking at my Blu-ray cover, right? Dictabird makes it on. There's no Bam Bam and Pebbles on that cover.
The original poster, they are on the cover, which I thought was funny. But yeah, you're right. My DVD doesn't have Bam Bam and Pebbles on it either. But yeah, very odd. Yeah. I think as well, they were very young, the Bam Bam and Pebbles kids, because they were twins. And I guess
they're always twins. They're always twins or triplets in those things. Yeah. How about you?
Well, I'll start with
where do you start with a good?
Yeah, the sets, as you said, outstanding, really, really good. Costume designs are really good as well. You look at them, you instantly recognise you're Fred, you're Barney, you're Wilma, you're Betty, whatever.
Yeah.
The puppetry is so good. I'm always a big fan of puppetry and practical rather than CGI. And the actors are fully committed to the silliness. John Goodman doesn't mind making an ass of himself. Neither does Elizabeth Taylor or Rick Moranis is fully committed in this. He's great in this. Yeah, for me, I know you said it's boring. I thought it did flow well. I think it's at a decent pace. I didn't find it boring. I thought it's just about the right running time. And it was very respectful to the source material as well. And there are genuinely a couple of really good jokes in there. A couple of things I did laugh at.
A couple, but a couple isn't enough, right? A couple isn't enough for the number of people that were involved in this.
No, true. It should have been hilarious.
It should be a laugh riot. Like you should have been howling with laughter all the way through. And it just isn't. It feels lazy.
It does. I mean, yeah, I'll come to the bad. I mean, it is a dull story. It's like, this is a story about embezzlement. Like, all right.
Yeah. You couldn't have come up with anything better.
No. For me, some of the CGI is really shoddy, but like you said, at least it's brief. I think Rosie O'Donnell and Elizabeth Taylor are completely wasted in this because at least like Elizabeth Perkins and Rick Moranis and John Goodman get to do stuff. 35 writers, that's worrying that you just couldn't come up with something better with 35 writers and nearly 10 to 15 years of trying to make this movie. This is what you came up with. And also, as well, it's just a little bit too sexy for kids, to be honest with you. I mean, like, come on, this whole thing with Halle Berry is just a bit weird. Yeah.
That's the review. Halle Berry, too sexy for kids.
And it wasn't the real Sharon Stone, damn it. That pissed me off.
She's just the right level of sexy for kids, Sharon Stone.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Halle Berry.
Instinct when you were 10.
Younger than that, actually. But don't get me wrong, Halle Berry's very, very hot, very nice. It's just like, this is a kid's film, and she's just been a bit inappropriate. But yeah. Cool. Right. Anyway, let's move on. Smith trivia. What you got for us?
Smith trivia, right. Okay. So, budget of 46 million. This is what I mean when I say it was commercial success, right? Budget 46 million. Gross 341 million, right? That is a big success by anybody's standard, right? And they were then talking about doing some sequels, a couple of sequels they wanted to film back to back. But John Goodman said, absolutely not, don't want to do it anymore. Don't want to be known as Fred Flintstone. I don't want to do it. So they scrapped it. And that's why in 2000 you got Viva Rock Vegas, which is
never seen it.
What I've seen of it. I've seen bits of it and I did not like it. So it was say this started being developed in roughly 1984, I believe, and Joel Silver originally had the rights. Now he'd set up Richard Donner to direct a version starring Jim Belushi, and Rick Moranis originally was cast as Barney. It was done based on a story by Stephen E. D'Souza, but the script that he did was considered a little bit too depressing. Um,
Bloody
it's apparently
Stephen
like, a
E.
bit like,
D'Souza again.
I mean, he's all over it, right? Street Fighter, he's everywhere. He's not
Yeah.
good.
No.
So eventually they kind of fell out with the rights, and Steven Spielberg picked up. Now, Steven Spielberg had directed a film called Always. Have you ever seen Always?
No.
Don't. Terrible. Boring. John
Okay.
Goodman's in it, though. And John Goodman was told by Steven Spielberg at some point, you are my Fred Flintstone. If I ever make a Flintstones film, you're in it.
Okay.
John Goodman did not want to do it. John Goodman was not thrilled about being Fred Flintstone, but felt he'd been railroaded into it. So if you ever seen interviews with him about it, he's not a particular fan of this, nor is he a particular fan of being in it in the first place. There were some rumors that John Candy was also considered, but never seriously. I mean, as soon as Spielberg was involved, it was John Goodman. Danny DeVito was originally considered to be Barney, but passed and said he thought himself to be too gruff. Originally, also apparently very briefly he was considered for Fred, but I don't think he'd have worked in either role. It's not.
No.
He's not right for either of them. Gina Davis and Catherine O'Hara were also up for Wilma.
Yeah, I could say that.
And Tracy Ullman was up for Betty as well, from the Tracy Ullman Show and various other bits and bobs. So it ended up being directed by a guy called Brian Levant. Now, Brian Levant was a huge fan of, if you've ever seen any of the documentaries around this, a huge fan of the Flintstones. The biggest fan of the Flintstones, and really, really wanted to make the film. Now, before this, he'd only done 2 feature films, I believe. Problem Child 2.
Ugh,
I mean,
worse than the first one.
I thought they said all they needed to say with Problem Child 1. That film's fucking terrible. And Beethoven, which also shit. He later went on to direct Jingle All the Way, which is the only good film on his CV. He then did Viva Rock Vegas, Snow Dogs, Are We There Yet? And a film called Max 2, White House Hero. It's about a dog. In the what I don't know, never seen it, never watched it. He also worked a lot in TV. They did a lot of stuff in TV sitcoms. So that's where the writer thing comes in. So throughout the production of this film, as you said, there were 35 writers. Now, some of those were individual writers that wrote scripts, and the rest were brought in like a sitcom to do a writer's room where you'd have 8 people sitting around a table coming up with jokes. And this is why it's fucking annoying that this isn't funnier. If you have 8 people and then another 8 people whose jobs are just to pitch jokes and pitch scenes, and they cannot come up with anything funnier than what's in this, then you've gone wrong. There's a reason you don't do films like you do TV series. TV series is half an hour, fine. This 90 minutes. You've got a lot more to cover, right? And you've got to be consistent. It's got to flow. It's got to have jokes that actually work. It just doesn't have any of it. So what else we got here? Mel Blanc, who voiced Dino in the original cartoon. They used archival footage of his to recreate for the sounds of Dino. Says he died long before this. As we said, Hanna-Barbera are both in it, as is the original Gene Vanderpyle, who's the original voice of Wilma, crops up in a scene as well. Cool. And Harvey Korman, who voiced the Dictabird, was the voice of the original Great Gazoo in the TV series back in the day. So he was an old original cast member as well. And I think that at the moment is all of the trivia that I have.
Well, that was comprehensive and very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a hell of a production story on it, this. And I don't understand. I do understand. If John Goodman had wanted to do sequels, there would have been sequels.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't want there to be is why there weren't. And I find it strange that it has just been forgotten. I think a lot of people who liked it when they're kids have sort of turned around subsequently and gone, "Oh, I don't like it anymore. It's rubbish." And critics hated it. Absolutely hated it. And I think some of that is because they knew the production story behind it, right? So they've gone in there thinking this has had a trouble production, so I'm gonna jump on. I'm looking for reasons to have a go at it. Whereas, look, is it perfect? No. Is it good? Sort of.
Well,
yeah. Anyway,
well, that will lead nicely on to then the final verdict. Does it hold up?
That's a tricky one because it's a kind of a yes and a no. In some ways, yes. In some ways, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly average. It's a film that exists and is not in any way bad for its 90 minutes. On the other hand, it's almost like a wasted opportunity, and you got to look at it and go, "Oh God, this could have been better." So you know what? Yes and no. I can't.
Oh, okay.
I
That's the
can't come
first
down
time
on
we've
one.
had that.
I cannot come down on one side on it because will I ever watch it again? Probably.
Yeah,
Never have kids. It'll be something to put on and see how they react.
interesting. Yeah.
How about you? Where are you?
I was the same, and I've spent this whole episode of us discussing it, trying to make my mind up, and I've weighed it up. And but look, based on the other stuff that we have said to hold up on this podcast, like fun stuff, definitely watch it again, probably show our kids, whatever. And I'm like, this one, it's not awful, it's not great, it's okay. Yeah, probably. I'm going to say no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. It's just, like you said, a wasted opportunity. And there's just some really cringe shit in it. Just like, ugh,
Yeah.
ugh,
All right. In which
no.
case, I will be influenced, and I will come down also on the side of no.
And that's
On balance, no.
right. So, sorry, folks, it does not hold up.
No, shame because now I've
Shame.
got it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I've also got it on DVD. Back to the
I
charity
quite
shop for
like
you.
everybody that's involved in it. You know, it's a weird one, right? Because John Goodman's really good. Rick Moranis retired quite young. I think his wife got sick and died, and he retired to look after his kids. Elizabeth Perkins, I don't know what she was in loads of films in the 90s, which I didn't really
Yeah,
notice at the time. But now when I go back, she's in loads of films and she doesn't seem to do anything anymore. So I don't know quite why that is. But
don't know. But yeah, never mind. It's, I don't know. Let's revisit it in 10 years and see if it holds up again.
no, let's not. Well, let's revisit it. Let's revisit it as and when we have kids and
There
see
you
what
go.
they think.
There you go. Right then. So it's
Oh,
next episode's nomination, and it's my turn this time.
yeah.
This
This is where I get nervous.
No. Let's see. So, Smith, what if I was to ask you, what is your favourite film about basketball?
Airbud?
I don't even know what that is.
It's about a dog who plays basketball. It's charming.
Sounds
No,
wonderful.
my favorite film about basketball is I don't really have a favorite film about basketball.
Okay, what would be your favourite film about basketball, which also has a monster in it?
Space Jam?
No. Oh, hell no. No, no,
Okay, good.
no.
Because I've never seen Space Jam, Stu. I can't
No,
talk about it.
I've never watched it properly. Okay, what is your favourite film about basketball that has a monster that also has Michael J. Fox in it?
I forgot it was about basketball.
Yeah.
Oh Christ. Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf. We are covering Teen
Oh.
Wolf, and I've legitimately not
Oh.
watched that in ages, and I remember loving that as a kid. So
Yeah. I think I only saw it once or twice when I was a kid. So this is not going to be like the Flintstones. I'm not going to sit there and watch it and go, "Oh, I remember that," because I'm not going to remember it. I'm going to remember the bit where his dad turns into a werewolf. I think that is the bit I'm going to remember.
Yeah, that bit's funny.
Or when he's doing a handstand on top of a moving truck.
To Beach Boys again. But anyway, no, we're getting into it.
Yeah, we're getting into it already.
Pretend we said nothing. So yes, we will be covering Teen Wolf on our next episode. But yeah, just before we get out of here, just a little bit of housekeeping. Just want to plug our socials. So we are on email, and it doesn't hold up at gmail.com. We're on Instagram at It Doesn't Hold Up Podcast. We're on Twitter, or X as it's known, at Doesn't Hold Up Pod. And we are on YouTube at Doesn't Hold Up Podcast. And we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all good places that you find podcasts. And please remember to give us a good review, like us, share us, whatever, spread the word about us, and remember to give us suggestions for things to cover. So, Smith, is there anything else you would like to say about the Flintstones?
No, Stu, there isn't, but I would like to tell all our listeners to have a yabba dabba do time.
Yes, indeed.